The rebirth of the Pixel series in 2021 was rife with problems, so much so that you might be wondering if the Pixel 7 Pro can resolve some lingering Pixel 6 Pro issues. Well, if you're wondering, here's everything you need to know. So before we get into the nitty-gritty and intense details, it is worth noting that ordinarily we would not suggest switching from a device after just 1 year of regular usage. However, of the more prominent Pixel 6 issues, such as the in-display fingerprint scanner and the somewhat poor mobile data reception, they appear to have been focus points with the release of the Pixel 7 series. So that's probably wondering, or at least you're wondering, if you're coming from an older Pixel or a device such as the Pixel 6 Pro, it may actually be worthwhile looking at this on a day-to-day basis, especially as the upgrades do enhance the experience you might already have. Looking at the hardware though, or looking at the specifications of the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 7 Pro side by side, and there really is little to separate this duo. It is true that many of the changes are subtle rather than full-blown overhauls. Google has just really stuck with the design language that helped the Pixel 6 series stand out when it released first time or as a rebirth last year. While the camera bar has been the defining design trait, the glass panel has been ditched here in favour of a metal fusion with the mid-frame. You can tell that the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 7 Pro share a lineage, but with differences that do help separate the two devices. That has to be said. Most of the recipe remains the same. Both smartphones still come with 6.71-inch QHD Plus 120Hz LTPO AMOLED displays. The curve though is slightly less pronounced on the Pixel 7 Pro, but the experience is relatively identical even with that minor change. What has improved though is the in-display fingerprint scanner. And while many may have had no issues with the Pixel 6 Pro, Google made that wise switch or wise choice to switch the optical scanner from the Pixel 6 Pro to the 6A scanner on the Pixel 7 Pro. This means just even more reliable biometric unlocking. This is also paired with software-based face unlock for added security, but we will talk about that in a little bit. Leaning back into glossy finishes though may come as a bit of a disappointment if you're looking at this brand new Pixel 7 Pro, as if you prefer a phone without a case, it's still prone to dirt and grime, amassing that. It's also worth noting that the metal camera bar is great for deflecting smudges from the camera lenses themselves, as there's only a sliver of glass available, but this can be scuffed easily if not protected properly. So if you were thinking about getting a case, get one that gives you that adequate protection. There's also a change as well to the millimeter wave bar at the top of the device, which is now smaller and harder to damage and doesn't stand out at least as prominently on that top bezel, as it fits in with the rest of that metal aesthetic. Colours are a familiar trait here, but the two-tone design has been ditched in the Pixel 7 Pro this time around. There's no room for a champagne gold option or sort of sunny. Instead, a hazel colour has been offered instead, which does retain the gold metal frame if you want something that stands out a little bit more. As for the software and performance, well, in day-to-day usage you'll notice no great difference between the Pixel Pro Duo. Both phones run Android 13, although some changes have been made to that new model, with face unlock functionality being a prime difference. Performance gains with the Tensor G2 processor also seem to be fairly minimal, with slick performance realistically on both handsets. This though is a big improvement over the buggy rollout of Android 12, which was found on the Pixel 6 Pro when that shipped. Overall, Android 13 runs really well across both devices, and it's fixed a lot of problems with the older handset, that's for certain. Material U and dynamic colour are still tuned with more refinements, and as I mentioned, those problem areas have been mostly addressed. What's also interesting is that you can actually scale the UI between 1080p and 1440p on the Pixel 7 Pro, but not on the Pixel 6 Pro. This can help with battery life, but not noticeably so, at least in our experience, and we're hoping that this feature might come to the Pixel 6 Pro at some point later down the line with a Pixel feature drop. It's just worth noting across the board though with both of these devices, gaming isn't a strong suit for Tensor, with heat and frame drops quite common even on the G2 model. You'll be able to play most games, but the experience is certainly a few steps behind devices with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or the 8 Plus Gen 1, and even some of the top tier MediaTek processors too. So while there were rumours ahead of its official unveil, the Pixel 6 Pro did actually not launch with software-based face unlock. It is though present on the Pixel 7 Pro in tandem with that in-display scanner, or that improved in-display scanner. Overall, it's fast, it's fluid, it's really easy to register your face, and it just helps alleviate any frustrations that some people might have with using an in-display scanner. It's also worth noting that Pixel 7 owners will get access to the Google One VPN for the lifespan of this device. It isn't yet available, but it's a big component in the security arsenal, and one that usually comes with a $9.99 per month fee as part of that 2TB Google One storage tier. It will be available though with the Google Pixel feature drop for December. Photo Unblur is also bundled in with that 2022 flagship. This tool is found within Google Photos and lets you apply a machine learning filter that will enhance blurry shots. Overall, you won't maybe see those with the camera itself, and it's not limited to pictures taken with the Pixel 7 Pro camera, and it can help breathe life into older photos, but it isn't perfect nonetheless. The other notable addition to the Pixel 7 Pro that you won't find on the 6 Pro is a new digital wellbeing option that allows you to track snoring and coughing while you're sleeping. Because the Pixel 6 Pro launched with Android 12 in 2021 and has since been updated to Android 13, that device will get 2 further major OS builds up to and including Android 15. The support window for the Pixel 6 and Pixel 7 series remains at 5 years, but with security patches in those final 2 years. Support will cease for the Pixel 6 Pro in October 2026, while the Pixel 7 Pro will be supported up to October 2027, and in that lifespan it will get Android 16 within its actual allotted support period. When it comes to charging and battery of the latest Pro Pixel, absolutely nothing has changed this year. Internal cell size is still capped at approximately 5,000 mAh or 5,003 mAh to be precise, and the maximum charging speeds do remain identical across both of these devices. Daily lifespans for the Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 7 Pro are fairly comparable, even despite the supposed 20% power efficiency gains with Tensor G2 in the 7 Pro. For us, all-day longevity seems to be par for the course, with all of the power-saving modes helping you achieve even greater lifespans if you're willing to forgo selected functions and features. The wired charging speeds are still capped at 23 watts, despite Google's protestations that 30 watts or a 30 watt power brick is required to achieve those faster speeds. That's partnered with 21 watt Qi wireless speeds, courtesy of the 2nd generation Pixel stand, and reverse wireless charging for accessories like the Pixel Buds and the Pixel Buds Pro. Obviously, it doesn't support the Pixel Buds A series or the Pixel Watch. Is also capped at 5 watts if you do want to use wireless power share. On paper, not a great deal has altered when it comes to the Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 7 Pro camera setups. What's important here is that these two devices represent the best camera systems on Google smartphones to date. The improvements do come mainly in the software department, although the impressive telephoto lens has been switched out to garner a greater zoom range on that newer Pixel 7 Pro model. The core triple camera system is familiar, as the 50 megapixel Samsung ISOCELL GN1 makes yet another appearance at the heart of both of these devices. The 12 megapixel Sony IMX386 ultra-wide is also used once again, but there is a notable change to that, we'll mention that in a moment. There's also an improved Samsung GM15X optical telephoto zoom lens, which does give the Pixel 7 Pro an edge over the Pixel 6 Pro's Sony IMX586 sensor with its 4x optical zoom capabilities. And because of this change and some software tuning improvements for super res zoom, the Pixel 7 Pro has the ability to punch in all the way up to 30x, so that's a hybrid digital zoom, and that is a substantial increase over the 20 times zoom cap that you'll find on the Pixel 6 Pro. And it must be said that throughout that zoom range, images do seem a little bit sharper on the new model. Of course, it is almost unfair to compare the Pixel 6 Pro camera suite against the Pixel 7 Pros, given that many exclusive features do exist on that newer device. You get a number of key functionalities that come courtesy of that Tensor G2 processor too, the most notable being that 30 times zoom as I mentioned, and a new macro mode. So both of these new modes rely on some hardware changes with the improved zoom abilities provided by the improved 5x lens. However, the macro shooting mode utilizes the ultra-wide lens is increased 114 to 126 degree field of view to allow for close-up shots without the need for extra on-device hardware, and that's a really good use of software and the hardware that's available to do that. It's not clear if these will though come to the Pixel 6 Pro, but guided frame is set to be made available very soon, although not confirmed as well. Real tone improvements could come with a future Pixel feature drop, but this is simply fine-tuning for the already impressive skin tone tech, and we are hoping that Google will bring this or backport this to other Tensor-powered devices. Video modes are really where the Pixel 7 Pro has truly leveled up here. 4K UHD video at 60 FPS is now available on all of the cameras, including the selfie camera for the first time. And that's not all though, as you can actually switch between the rear cameras when recording at this frame rate too, something that many other Android phones and even iPhones don't currently offer. 10-bit HDR10 video can also be recorded for the first time on a Pixel at up to 4K 30 FPS too on the Pixel 7 Pro. A new cinematic blur mode also provides fake bokeh effects at up to 1080p 24 FPS, but it's not quite as good as it necessarily seemed when it was unveiled on stage. It's worth noting all of the Pixel 6 Pro's existing modes such as locked focus, cinematic pan, night sight portrait and more are already included on the Pixel 7 Pro alongside those new additions. In our experience, the actual image and video processing times as well, they appear to be substantially faster on the Pixel 7 Pro this time around as well. Mostly, or at least most images are ready instantly after you've pressed that shutter and then go into the gallery preview, while on the Pixel 6 Pro, it can sometimes take a second for processing to be completed. Not that that's a big deal in the grand scheme of things. So to summarise the entire Pixel 6 Pro versus Pixel 7 Pro argument, in normal circumstances at no point would we ever suggest switching from a year-old smartphone, because that's just bad for the planet and it's bad for your wallet. The thing is, because of the persistent frustration and issues that have more or less tarnished the Pixel 6 Pro for many people out there, we think that the Pixel 7 Pro offers a viable upgrade path with many important and notable improvements, including specifically the signal and that in-display fingerprint scanner. The signal is vastly improved on the Pixel 7 series wholesale, so that's something to know. You may have opted, though, because of that tarnished reputation, to look elsewhere at some point, and it's kind of understandable given the issues were quite widespread. That said, while the Pixel 7 Pro is not the perfect smartphone in a bubble, it's the closest that Google has come to crafting at least the perfect Pixel device, and that's a big deal given that teething problems have pained previous models so extensively year after year. So to simplify, if you want a more reliable, almost flawless fingerprint scanner and a device that has a strong signal or connectivity in more places, then we would actually say go and trade in your Pixel 6 Pro and pick up the 7 Pro with the difference. Otherwise, if you're issue-free with last year's model, then you really aren't missing out on all too many changes, and a lot of these might end up coming to your device through Pixel feature drops later down the line. I want to ask you though, have you made the switch or have you gone elsewhere, looked at another device from another manufacturer? Let us know down in the comment sections below. It's always interesting to hear your thoughts on that tricky upgrade cycle, but as always, until next time, this is Damien with 9to5 Google. Thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.